Hello, I'm Jennifer,
And I'm Leah.
and we are going to be discussing our policy of client eligibility. So, for my agency, I work in a children's autism center, and we basically help children get the needs of education that they need for life skills of independency. What about you?
At my agency, they sponsor a homeless prevention program which helps residents of San Marcos by providing emergency assistance to those who are at risk of eviction or homelessness.
Okay. And what about your policy being effective and ineffective? How does that work at your agency?
At our agency, I would say the policy is effective because people have received assistance, and also the money doesn't have to be paid back because people who are struggling financially, sometimes they have burdens that they have on their shoulders because they have to worry about paying it back or figuring out how they're gonna like earn it back. And with the program that they have in place, it doesn't have to be paid back as long as you have the proper documentation to support your application to get assistance. And then I would say we also have an anti-oppressive framework as well. Like we don't discriminate like against certain people. You just have to meet a certain criteria. And then what makes it like ineffective at my agency is strict documentation. So it does require like a minimum criteria, like documentation that you are getting evicted or could get evicted, your ID, proof of income, and then um, proof of financial hardship. So maybe like you lost your job, you were hospitalized, things like that. And then also limited caseloads due to how funding also ties into that as well. How about yours?
So, for my agency, the client's strengths and weaknesses are our most priority for them.
Mm-hmm.
We also have communication skills of functional communication between the clients and their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have consistent attendance, arrival times, and pickup for each client for the quality care. Um, that's for the effective part. For the ineffective, it's kind of goes with communication isn't really the best. It's only verbal communication, so there's not really any emailing or anything like that. So if there's miscommunication verbally, then it's not really the best because there's no way to really backtrack what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And also, our flexible schedules are not that flexible as other programs and jobs tend to be. We don't really accommodate for like holidays or anything like that. Like we're on a set stone schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like in a car accident or something and you're not showing up to the clinic, then you're at risk of being terminated and your child won't be able to get the services that they need. Um, but with all of that, like the main thing that you have to have for the services at the clinic, you have to have insurance. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have insurance, then we can't accept you, but we can always try to provide you with different resources for different clinics. Um, what about like ethical policies at your agency?
With our agency, I would say that informed consent is a big thing because of how limited certain structures are regarding our policy. Our case managers do have our clients sign an informed consent, which does follow the code of ethics. And then also there's client confidentiality, so they can't discuss it out of work, and they do keep their files very what's the word? Like not locked up, but like in a safe kind of like it's stored
Mhm.
in a very secure place so that no one can access it unless they have permission to. And then also they recognize housing is a need, which is why the program started in the first place. Like lots of people become homeless and there's no one to really help them out. And so recognizing that housing is a need and helping them would, I believe, qualify them as following the ethics and it's things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For my agency, like I said, we prioritize the patients, the children there that have autism. So our dignity and worth for the agency is very popular, because we're making sure that each treatment plan is corresponding to that specific child and why they need those specific goals to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, the importance of human relationships. We provide communication with the parents of the child. It's not the best communication, so that would be kind of not ethical on our part, just because having only verbal communication isn't really the best to go by. Because the child has three different technicians that they work with. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I were to talk to the other client's technician and our transparency in the communication isn't the same as the third technician's communication, and that's the technician that goes to the parent and talks to them, and it's completely different than what I said, that's not really the best communication skills. So I feel like it would be better if we were to like email the parents or stuff like that so that they can have the full transparency of what's
Yeah.
going on. Um, Also, service and integrity is a good ethical code because we ensure that the clients are approved by the caregivers, specific caregivers. So, whenever they have orientation at the clinic, you have to sign a form stating your name, your age, your identification. We have to scan your documents and everything. And if you're not registered to pick up that child, you cannot pick up the child. So then the child just has to stay at the clinic until the correct supervisor and parent comes and gets the child, because we don't want to give them just to some random person.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I think those are the best ones. I would say not ethical would be social justice, because for the insurance that they have, if like they're not accepted by payments, they have to do cash or check payments. And if they're not doing like the correct check payments and get declined by the checks, they
Mm-hmm.
have a $35 fee on top of the amount that they have to pay weekly for the clients to get their education, which a $35 fee on top of the amount that you have to pay for the clients is kind of a lot, especially for low income families. Like they're not really going to be able to handle that much amount. And then
Mm-hmm.
also have to buy groceries and just all of the necessary things for their child, you know? So
Yeah.
it's kind of a strain on low income families, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Does any
But
of that kind of like go hand in hand with your agency?
yeah, so with our agency, it does limit the people who can apply in terms of income because at my agency they have this thing called AMI, and I forgot what it stands for, but it's regarding income. And if you make above the 50% baseline, then your application will get denied. And it does suck in some instances because let's say there's this family who does make above the certain income guideline, but they maybe like had a business and their business went out of business, and like their main
Yeah.
source of income is gone and they're needing some sort of assistance. And so when they do apply to this program, they'll get denied and then that puts them in a tough spot. So that kind of goes into like the unethical because we have certain barriers that do restrict certain people. Um, and then I did want to ask though with your agency, um, would y'all say that y'all's income, like y'all's clients, do you know like their income background if most of them are low income, um, high income, mid income levels?
Yeah, most of them are low income. So
Mm-hmm.
the state has like different clinics within their city limits. Um,
Yeah.
so the more more likely we're going to get the lower income just because of like
Mhm.
the area that we're in.
Mhm.
Um, so we do have the lower income families, but like I said, like most of them do have the correct insurance that they have to have um, to be able to enter the clinic. But there are some families that do have higher income, which we can accept them. It's just the majority of our clients are lower income.
Yeah. Do y'all ever have to reject people that like are interested in y'all services?
Um, we normally just reject people if like their payments aren't being accepted or they don't
Mhm.
have insurance at all, which is not really likely that they don't have insurance just because pretty much this whole area you have to have insurance for most of the jobs that you can get.
Mhm.
So yeah, we don't really typically kick anybody out.
Yeah. But like if y'all were like let's say y'all services do end, like do y'all also like send out referrals for them to go to or like additional resources?
Yeah, we do send them to different clients, like centers that
Mhm.
their kids can go to because we have about 5 or 6 similar centers that are around us. But I mean, it's really a competition kind of thing, like who has the better education.
Yeah.
Um, but it's pretty much all of the same kind of clinical centers for autism
Mhm.
children. So.
How would you make any of the policies that your agency has better?
Um, I would say to number one, if we could reduce the amount of payments, because for lower income people, it would be hard to just, first off, autism children, like they need more needs than a regular person, right? So
Mhm.
if you're having to buy groceries at $1,200 a week, you're not going to be able to afford clinical trials of like them getting their education for however much you have to pay on top of getting groceries or anything like that. And then also, I would say to have better communication skills because just having verbal communication isn't really the best, in my opinion. I feel like we should
Mhm.
have like emailing systems or texting systems, just better documentations skills. And then whenever they have like an orientation within the clinic, it's only one orientation and they don't really cover all of the facts and answers that they should. So I feel like
Mhm.
we should have at least 3 different orientations just to make sure that they know exactly all of the documents and stuff that they have to have. What about you?
With us at my agency, if I could improve certain policies in place, I would say definitely I'd start off first by lobbying to legislators due to the limited funding they have because they
Yeah.
can only meet with a certain amount of people, which in a way is good because their caseworkers can like put more focus into their clients. And then at the same time, it's bad because not everyone that is applying is going to get help. There's only a limited amount of people. So, and they also mentioned to me that their funding comes from the city or from the county. So I would definitely go to the legislators, like our local ones, and lobby to them saying that we should receive more funding for our programs because a lot of people they end up like not getting assistance and they stay in their same situation, which is unfortunate. So I would definitely just try to expand the work that is already in place in order to help more people, you know?
Yeah.